I'm an assistant lecturer in culinary arts at Lone Institute of Technology. I left DKIT in 2012 and I graduated in the honours degree in tourism, hospitality and event management. I also did my ordinary degree here in 2011. That was hospitality management, I think, I'm trying to remember now. And then I did the professional cookery, the culinary course, which I graduated from in 2008. So I spent plenty of time here, a good 4 or 5 years at least here. So I'd say even, because I suppose I had a couple of last semesters when I was doing the culinary course when I finished up here, I did have work sorted. I actually went to work, I got a placement through some of my lecturers here at La Crevan. When I finished off the hospitality degree, I did not have a place to work. I went to the US. I had a job here, I was actually working at the Crown Plaza, but I decided to go to the US for a year on a student graduate visa at the time. So as soon as I left here, I decided just to spread my wings and fly. And I went to the US and I arrived after about 2 weeks finishing up here, finishing my exams. No job, no place to stay. I'd known 1 or 2 people over there from previous trips, but it was about a week in and I'd found a job and a place to live. There's one thing that's definitely in demand. It's graduates from like hospitality courses and culinary courses from Ireland, particularly in the US. They're very well viewed. So there's no shortage of jobs, which was the good thing about it. So I would say to anyone who's particularly stressed at the thought of leaving with a degree at the moment and they don't have a job lined up or anything like that, I won't be worried about it. If anything, I'd encourage you to maybe take a year, go travel, see some different things, because that's a great learning experience in itself, aside from just you have your whole life to work, okay? So maybe take a year, travel a little bit, would be good advice. You can work along the way. Well, funnily enough, I'm still in college technically, so you could say I never really left it, so I never had to do the full adjustment. I always studied and simultaneously worked at the same time generally. I would say the longest period I had out of some form of education in the last 10 years was a year and a half max. And that if I wasn't in work full-time or education full-time, I would have been doing at least half and half. So I can't particularly say. I would say the biggest struggle that people generally have is it's the adjustment from going from college life to working life. Yeah, it's a tricky one for me because I'm kind of still in the two of them. I wouldn't say there's any huge adjustment for me personally. I like to learn, continuously learn. So in any job I've gone into, I've sort of taken that same learning approach that I would have had here at Dundalk or when I did my master's in the UK or anything like that. I've taken that approach to life. The skills you learn as a graduate are applicable to everyday life, so I wouldn't say it's so much an adjustment as it's transferring the skills you learn here to your working life and trying to enjoy it as well, you know. It's what I wanted to be doing. I would even say if you asked some of your current lecturers who would have been my lecturers, this was a job I definitely wanted to do. I didn't think I'd get it maybe this early in my career. I thought I'd probably be at least another 5 years down the line, but I got great training here, I got great opportunities from here, I got some great jobs on the back of my experience and the training I got here. Traveled a little bit, got to work with it, pursued my education, and all of a sudden I just moved back to Ireland from the US just this past August, so I'm here less than a year, and I would have to say that I applied for the job I'm currently in when I was in the US, and I was very surprised looking at the job application. It's one of those bizarre moments where I was like, oh, I'm actually qualified, I tick all the criteria here, and I got the job. And it's funny, like, it was just a lot of hard work over my time here and my time away from here over the last couple of years. And then all of a sudden there was a day where, you know, the penny dropped, and it culminated in the fact that, oh, I actually have the experience to do the job I wanted to do. So yes would be the short answer, and this is what I saw myself doing, and I'm delighted it's gone as well as it has. Obstacles encountered along the way. It's a good question. Nothing comes to mind as an obstacle specifically. There's been challenges. It's always been enjoyable. I moved around a lot, so obviously moving from one country to the next, visas and stuff like that are obviously obstacles. But there was nothing I ever felt particularly held me back. In our industry, in hospitality events, the pay grade isn't fantastic. So I'd say one of the biggest obstacles, if I was going to say there was an obstacle, would be money, to be able to do the things that you specifically want to do at a specific time. But it just meant I had to plan things better, where I was going to go, how long I was going to spend somewhere. And in a roundabout way that's kind of good, it forced me to, I was mentioning about potentially going traveling for a year. I couldn't necessarily afford to just travel for a year. I had to work while I did it, and I think I was probably better for that experience. So I wouldn't say obstacles. I never specifically felt there was any one thing in my way. It was just, there was nothing that a bit of hard work, and if it's something you really wanted to do, that couldn't be overcome. There was minor challenges, speed bumps, but I feel like the one thing in life, time and money. You could always do a little bit more time for something, you could always do a little bit more money for it, but it hasn't held me back. There's ways around it, you know. Well, we might need a long time for that. It's been a long process. Funnily enough, I started out actually. I'll go back to 18-year-old John. I'll go the whole 12 years back. I started out in engineering. Oddly enough, and I did that for 2 years, and then I decided, like, you know yourself, when you leave school, secondary school or high school, you know, people expect you to know what you're supposed to do with the rest of your life at 17 or 18, and I really didn't have a clue, so I ended up in engineering by virtue of the fact that I was good at maths. But after 2 years, it became pretty clear to me that I wanted to leave that, and I had an interest in food, so I wanted to pursue that. So I left engineering and I enrolled here in DKIT in 2006, and I was like 19 or 20 at that point, so I guess you could argue I was a little bit wiser, a little bit more mature. That's debatable. And then on that journey, that obviously simultaneously I got my first job at the same time. I worked in a hotel in my hometown, and I worked there for the duration of the 2 years, so that was the start of my career in hospitality and in the culinary field. And then after I finished the 2 years here, I worked in Dublin in a restaurant called Akravan, which again I sourced. It was one of our assignments, one of our projects here in my second year of that. We went for a meal experience there, and that led to a job. And then funnily enough, from there I got a scholarship to go to the US through Fáilte Ireland and through the college here, to go to Johnson & Wales University for a couple of months to study over there. So through that experience, after I left Akravan, I studied in the US briefly, and I made a lot of contacts there. And then from there, I came home, and there was another 9 months to enroll in the hospitality management degree here that I had time to kill effectively. So as soon as I got home, I was like, well, I've worked in Ireland, I've been to the US now, and I kind of wanted to try something different. So I went and I worked for a catering and event company in New Zealand to fill up that 9-month period between finishing in the US and starting again into a new course here. And that was an incredible experience, like incredible country, incredible people, got to see a whole new different way of doing things in terms of hospitality. And then from there, I came back here. The beauty of the course here, I don't know if it's still the same, we had a 6-month international internship on the hospitality course. So I came home, did a semester for 3 months, and then I went back to the US for 9 months for my work placement, which I did in Dallas, again through contacts I had made in my previous trip to the US. I know this is very long-winded, stay the course. So I worked in Dallas, then I came back, finished my degree here, worked here, worked in the Crown Plaza, did my 2 years here, and then after that I decided, I'd like to go back to the US again. So I went back to Boston this time. It was that story I was telling you at the beginning, and I worked over there. And then after a year over there, I decided I wanted to do a master's. So I went to the University of Brighton in the UK. And then again, after that year, I decided to go back to the US again to work, and I met my wife over there, and I settled there for a couple of years, and then we made the decision to move back to Ireland about a year ago. And in the US, I worked as a chef, and I also worked as a butcher, and I was involved in. I know you guys just had a pop-up here last week, so I started a pop-up company in Boston called Boston Pop-Ups that are still operating now as well. And then I found myself back here in Athlone IT, and now here today from there. So that's the whirlwind 12 years, and it's just basically been studying and working and traveling all for the last 10 to 12 years. That basically has culminated where I am now, and I'm looking forward to getting involved in more studies and hopefully more traveling and more interesting adventures as well in the future. I guess in a strange way, and I suppose high points are a very subjective thing. For me, the high points have been the people I've met, the friends I've made, the places I've got to see, the experiences I've got to have. And like, even if I take it from my experience here and my classmates and the faculty here, who are all very personable, and I still consider many of them, both staff and students, as close friends. Then from moving abroad, going to different countries like New Zealand, the US a couple of times, and basically just going there on your own with a backpack on your back, no job, no place to live. It's amazing how quickly things can settle within a couple of weeks, and you make these new friends that you never really imagined, particularly when you're in your first year of college, or even when you're finishing up secondary school or high school. You never really imagine that your life is going to lead you to these places, and that you're going to have these experiences with people. So definitely the high point has definitely been the people I've met, the places I've been, and the experiences I've got to share. I've got to have and I've got to share. I would guess in a strange way, high points can be, like for a chef, it can be working in a particular restaurant and getting a particular good review, or getting an award, or getting an accolade, things like that. And there's been moments of that in my career, but I don't consider those. They're important to my experience and to who I am now, but I don't consider them the high points. It was the people I got to meet along the way with that was really important to me. And like, that's, for me, that's the stuff that's going to stand the test of time. Those relationships you develop with people, and you can get all the accolades, whether they're a trophy or a certification or something like that, but it's even the classmates you're making on like an Erasmus experience now. Like, that's to me going to be a high point. You're going to remember that in years to come, more so. So that's what it's been for me: the people, the places, the experiences. Next, I'm probably going to sign up for a PhD in the next year, so that's going to be a nice bit of torture for the years ahead. So I'll be going back into studying, and I'll simultaneously teach as well. My wife, she's also in hospitality and events, and she is trying to open a business at some point in the next couple of years as well. So I'm sure I'll get roped into that part of the way. But I'm looking forward to, particularly the career I'm in now is where I want to be, and I think it's a great opportunity. I get to be around people like you every day, students who just want to learn, and I'm constantly learning things off students, and I'm only in the job 5 months at the moment, and it's just a learning experience all the time, and that's why I kind of want to do the PhD. It's like you asked about that adjustment between college and going into the working world, and I sort of said, well, I've never had to adjust because I've sort of stayed in the two, and that's sort of what I'm looking forward to in my future career: more learning, more trying new things, and more meeting new people, sharing experiences, and learning along the way. You know, it should be fun. I should say at this point, it's just popped into my head. I dyed part of my hair peacock green for about 2 months. I know Lorraine Dunn in the restaurant management will definitely remember it, because I had to go into the restaurant with my peacock green hair, which I thought was a great idea at the time, so I'd maybe tell myself to not do that. But on a more serious level, I think if I had one piece of advice, it'd probably be a twofold piece of advice, but it's related. It's firstly, do what you want to do, okay? And I know you only asked for one, but this is kind of, they're all related for me. Do what you want to do, make sure you're happy doing it, okay? Don't be too hard on yourself, okay? I find, I still do it, you can be very hard on yourself if something goes wrong, it doesn't quite work out the first time. We all tend to get very frustrated, and that's human nature. Get frustrated, be angry about it, but let it go. Don't be too hard on yourself about it. That's a sign that you're just trying to improve and you're trying to do better. And what's related to all of that for me is criticism, okay? You're going to get a lot of criticism in your career. You may criticize yourself a lot. You may get criticism from peers. You may get criticism from supervisors, managers, and then you may turn that criticism in and you may eat yourself up inside and just obsess about it. The thing about criticism is it's generally meant to be constructive. There will be times when it's not constructive, but just take the lesson for what it is. And like, if you have to be upset about it and if you have to be angry about it, I'm talking about myself here, be that way about it, but try and take the learning experience from it and use that, and just don't be too hard on yourself, because I think we all just we kind of go into a bit of a shell. We're bad at taking criticism. We're bad at giving it. I think we could probably deliver it better to people, and I think that's the one thing we all need to work on. But it's valuable, we can use it, and it's the only way we improve, particularly in our industry where we're dealing with people all the time. So it's how you handle that. Be true to yourself and what you want to do, and then just when it comes to criticism, take it on the chin. Don't be hard on yourself. Move on, learn, and keep going.